Hey guys, welcome back to my final update for this gas grenade Witchhunter. So I've been playing this for my league start for the past week, and I think I'm at the point where I am satisfied with the build and I'm not trying to pursue it any further. There is definitely a lot of room for improvement in terms of the DPS that you can see here, defenses and everything. I only leveled it to 85. I haven't done all the endgame bosses yet, but I have cleared up to T15s, and in the next few clips you'll be able to see T14, T15 maps with the bosses. But essentially, I'm pleased with how this build turned out with minimal investment. I think overall I spent about maybe 50-60 exalts total on this build. And that's not a lot, so for it to be able to clear all the content that I did so far, I'm very pleased with it. However, the playstyle, if you haven't played grenades, I definitely recommend trying it out. And just as a sidetrack here, this was one of the biggest sale I did this league. This pair of gloves I sold for 150 exalts, which is a big reason why I wanted to start a new build and explore something else. But anyway, back on point. The biggest downside I would say for this build is the playstyle. And if you haven't tried grenades, I recommend trying it at least once. But there is a detonation delay built into grenades, and I'm playing gas grenades here. And as you can see, the playstyle involves a lot of sidestepping, walking, throwing your grenades, and basically dodging. It's a very active playstyle. One of the things that I learned was actually animation cancelling, and what that means is when I shoot my grenade, you see that I dodge roll immediately. This sort of cancel the recoil animation from the crossbow, which will speed things up in the long run. So it's one of the things that it becomes muscle memory after you play this for a while, but the fact that it has that delay just doesn't feel that good. So I'm looking to build something a lot faster for my next character, so maybe something like a Deadeye. So that is one of my biggest pet peeves with this build, is just the delay in damage and the fact that you have to constantly avoid damages and all. But aside from that, the good thing about this build is that it is almost a jack of all trades. So it's, as you can see, good damage. Grenades, they do a good amount of damage with shock and the overlap from the AoE explosions. But again, you are not the tankiest build out there, right? We have Sorcery Ward that gives us about 4,000 elemental barrier. So we're pretty tanky against elemental damage, but against physical damage, our armor only can do so much. But yeah, so I'm gonna go over the build in a second here once I kill this boss. So stay tuned, and then let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Alright, so I'm gonna go over my gear really quick here, starting with the crossbow. So this is one that I picked up as I entered the campaign. It's a 350 PDPS crossbow. Right now it's going for less than 5 exalts, so really cheap. And as I mentioned in the clips earlier, there's definitely a lot of room for scaling this build. It's just that I'm kind of tired of it and I want to try something else. But you can definitely upgrade your crossbow and get a lot more damage than what you saw previously. This helm, same thing, I picked it up as I started using gas grenade. This amulet is quite nice. I actually bought it with just maximum life, lightning resistance, and rarity, and I slammed on strength, mana, and energy shield. This armor was probably the most expensive piece I picked up. I think I got it for about 25 exalts. Essentially looking for high armor evasion hybrid chests, and this one had dual res as well, and a nice dexterity roll. So this one here was probably the most expensive gear for this build. This ring is just life, strength, some lightning rest. This one has This was also a recent purchase, has life, intelligence, cold res. That's essentially the 3 mods I was looking for. And the glove, well, I picked it up off the ground. It just basically has armor, life, fire, and cold resistance. For your gloves, you want to stack as much armor as possible. I think you can go as high as 500. Obviously it gets expensive because it synergizes really well with this node right here. Belt is just armor, life, dual resistance, and then just a basic pair of boots with 25 move speed. So again, there's a lot of room for upgrading, but I'm probably not going to pursue this character any further. I'm just gonna invest in something else. I also have an offhand bow with just a bare physical DPS roll and some lightning damage, and lightning damage quiver as well. And this is essentially to take advantage of Stormcaller Arrow, which basically guarantees a shock on even T15 bosses. This is credits to Fearless Dumbo on YouTube, who gave me this idea. Alright, next thing would be the passive tree. So this is what it looks like. I'm taking advantage of the weapon swap here, so grabbing all these armor nodes over here, going down all the way. These are the grenade nodes. Grabbing these ones here. And it looks a little blurry, especially for the second weapon set, but essentially for the bow, I'm grabbing these lightning nodes. I'm grabbing these extra points here for additional chance to shock. And finally, I'm grabbing these nodes here for more shock chance as well, because we're trying to stack as much shock chance as possible for the bow. And finally, for the gem setup, we are gas grenade. So this is again only on a 5 link. All the damage that you saw in the previous clips are all on a 5 link. We have Immolate, Primal Ornament, Scatter Shot, and Fire Infusion. Sorcery Ward, you can link it to Cold Mastery, Fire, and Lightning Mastery for the plus levels. Flash Grenade is really just for a safety button. If you get swarmed, you just press this, it blinds all the enemies, and you get some mana leech as well. Explosive Grenade, I'm not using it, it's just sitting here. All Grenade is basically to debuff the enemy to get exposure and also slow the enemy. And finally, Stormcaller Arrow, again, it's there to shock with the weapon swap. And then, the Ascendancy, again, I highly recommend grabbing the Sorcery Ward passives here, just because they are really powerful. As you can see, I have 4,000 ward, and this basically adds on top of your elemental resistance, so it makes you really tanky towards elemental damage. Explosion, again, I strongly believe it's one of the best Ascendancy nodes in the game. In terms of just raw damage from the explosion, especially when you're doing breaches and expeditions, you really feel the power of this node. So highly recommend grabbing this. For the last one, I haven't got a chance to do it, but if I do, I'm probably going to go Witchbane, just because the Culling Strike just doesn't feel that good, unless you're going for Decimating Strike as well. But I think this is probably going to be the choice that I would go with. But yeah, that's the final update of this build. I'm going to level a new character soon, so stay tuned for that. Bye guys.